A lot of coaches doing press conference today. Honestly, I don't know where we're at, and I don't believe that much of anybody does until you play that first game. And after you play that first game, you've got an idea where you're at moving forward. This is a huge opportunity, also a great challenge at Boise State. Tremendous program with a lot of tradition, and we can sit here and talk about what they've done over the last 15-plus years. But we have a lot of respect not only for the program, but Brian Harsin, his staff, what they've been able to do, and what Brian's done not only as the head coach of Arkansas State, but what he did as an offense coordinator at Texas and at Boise before. Real quick, just kind of a update on Boise. Offensively, create a lot of difficulties. They're very well coached. A lot of multiple formations with tight ends. Play with 3 and 4 tight ends in the game at one time. They shift in motion, which is something that we've got to be prepared for. Probably the number one thing defensively for us this week is getting lined up and making sure our gaps are covered in the run game. They run the ball probably as well as anybody in the country over the last 10-plus years, and they do a great job of getting one-on-one opportunities in the play-action pass game. Some of the guys that you need to know about, quarterback Brett Rippon, I think he's proven commodity, very good player. He can make all the throws. He's accurate. Receiver number 1, Cedric Wilson, had one of the highest averages per catch in the country last year. He's an NFL player. The more I watch him, the more impressed I am with him. Their offensive line, they've replaced several, but I think it's important. They don't rebuild. They just kind of replace, and they've got big, long guys. I know they're excited about some of the young guys in their program. And then defensively, they've been successful for a long time. I think anytime you win at the level they've won, it's always due to playing championship-level defense. And some of their offensive guys have gotten a lot of the press, but they've been impressive on defense. And they stop the run. They're long. I think they do a great job in the recruiting process of going out and choosing long defenders, selecting long defenders. They get off and shed blocks probably as good as anybody I've played against in a long time. Some guys the first guy that sticks out to me on film is number 55, David Moa. He played nose for him last year. They've moved him to a defensive tackle, I understand. He's active, uses his hands, very impressed. Makes a lot of plays in the run game. Got a lot of pressure on the quarterback last year from that nose spot. The next guy is a linebacker, number 38, Leighton Vander Esch. I like the way he plays. He plays hungry. He gets to the ball. He's long, and you'll hear that. That's going to be consistent when you're talking about their defensive guys. But he runs to the football. I think he's kind of stepped up, and he's a leader defensively for them right now. They've got a cornerback, number 14, Tyler Horton, who made a lot of plays. I think he was first-team All-Mountain West last year. He's good in coverage. You can tell by just watching their video he has really good energy, and that's contagious. Special teams-wise, they're like us. They're all new. They're going to roll out new snapper, new kicker, new punter. The kick and the punter is going to be the same guy. But Cedric Wilson, the receiver I talked about earlier, he's dangerous in the return game. Punt returner, kickoff returner. We've got to be careful when we choose to kick the ball to him. Overall, good. They're what you expect when you turn on the video and watch. What your expectations are of Boise is probably we're the same as mine. A very well coached team that's disciplined, that plays hard, and that's what they are. Looking forward to a great week of preparation. Like I said, our guys are excited, as they should be, about first game of the season. A lot of hard work, a lot of energy. It's been a long time since we left the field lifting up that trophy in Mobile on December 23rd last year. So game number 1 of a long season, and this is an opportunity for us to find out where we're at as a program. It's not going to make us if we win the game. It's not going to break us if we lose the game, but I think it is a really good measuring stick of where we're at. So with that, I'll open up to questions. Barry?
Can you speak to the level of competition on your two teams from spring, summer, fall to get to where the game week?
Yeah, well, it's if you look at it, I think when we're trying to build a program here, Barry, and you see us probably more than a lot of people, but we're really working on building a program. And to build a program, I think one of the key aspects of that is you got to have daily competition, not only in practice, but in the weight room and things like that. I think if you look at it by certain positions, I think in the receiver room, both our inside and our outside receiver, we've got a ton of competition. If you look at the Z receiver, Damian Willis and Emmanuel Thompson. If you look at our H receiver, Sidney Davis, Tavares McCormick. If you look at what we have in the running back room with Sean and Josh Anderson and Jamarius and Jabir Fry, there's a lot of competition in that room. Right now, defensively, if you look at we've got a lot of competition at linebacker. I think we're going to wait and see, how this week of practice goes before we really determine what the playing rotation looks like at that position. At corner, we've made so many strides over the last 2 years getting competition at those positions. So we've had heated competition. The one thing that early in the season that I firmly believe in is playing a lot of people. And because this is a non-conference game, I think the most important games on your schedule are your conference games. We play two non-conference games before we get into our conference schedule. In both of these games, this week and next week, we want to play a lot of people. The heat will be a factor as well. It's going to be in the upper 90s on game time on that turf there in Boise. So we need to get a lot of guys ready. But to answer your question, we've had a lot of competition, and I'd like to see that across the board. We're probably a year away from having that across the board.
You kind of hinted on it already, but the first 2 years you kind of looked at the early games as almost like a preseason.
Mm-hmm.
With all the national noise a little bit last year, success, is that about the same this year, or is it?
Yeah, I think that we always put the most importance on our conference schedule, and I think if you went and looked at nearly every team in the country, that's probably the case. This game has a lot of national attention, and rightfully so. It's opening weekend of the season. Both these teams won 10 games last year. Boise has been at the top of the group of 5. That I make no bones about it. That's where we'd like to take this program. Like I said, this is a game that not only I think it's a great series for us. We're looking forward to when we open up the new building next year and them visiting here. I look at it as a 2-game series that's going to tell us where we're at. Either one, we're making great strides, or 2, we got a long way to go. So that's the way we're going to look at it. If we win, I don't think it makes our season. We got to get ready for our home opener the next week. If we lose, then we get it together and we get ready to play Alabama State and then get into our conference schedule.
In New Orleans, you mentioned that this team has to flip the switch. You stated the importance of the chemistry and the chip in the shoulder that they play. Do you think this team has flipped the switch from what you've seen in all of them?
Yeah.
And through the senior leadership really helping that?
Well, I think that's probably the one void that I'm most worried about. Really going into our first week is the players that we lost off last year. There were some really good players on that team, but more importantly, there were some great leaders on that team. And I don't know if I'll be able to answer that, Jeremy, until we get into the season. We have to deal with adversity. It may happen on the first play at Boise. It may happen in the first quarter at Boise. Whenever it happens, that's when you can tell what the leadership of your team is about. In fall camp, we try as coaches to create adversity, and I've got a pretty good idea how where we're at as far as how we responded. I think they've responded in a positive manner. But until you get into a game situation, they have to respond with a lot of pressure, real pressure, like people in the stands, national TV, those type of things. You don't really know. I like our football team. I like where we're at. I like the mixture we have with veteran experience and young guys that are trying to prove and get on the field for the first time. I like that mixture. I think we're a team that still has a lot to prove. The conference championship, getting a win with national prestige. Those are some things. We've got to be a hungry football team. I'll be hugely disappointed if we're not laser focused all week, and just because we have a tremendous challenge and tremendous opportunity. Plus, we're going into week 1. We better be a hungry football team, man. If you think about everything that goes into this, 365 days a year now. What these guys are asked to do through the winter, through the summer, they better get it. They better get juiced up and be ready to play on especially on a national stage.
Coach, you got junior, senior leadership. You kind of already commented on those guys, but kind of what's your message to those older guys to try to get those younger guys really ready again week 1, trying to go out and do some big things?
Well, I think it's about setting the standard. It's really it's about setting the standard of how you prepare your body and how you prepare your mind during a week. And it started really yesterday at our team meeting we had. If you look at it offensively, we're a veteran team. Very, very, very few first-time players outside of Damian Willis are going to participate in the game. Defensively, we're going to play 6 true freshmen and 2 other guys, Marcus Webb and Antoine Barker, that have not played much football at all. Antoine's played 1 game. We've moved him inside. He's never played a game inside. So we're going to roll out 8 first-time players for the most part on defense. And they're athletic. They can run, but they've never played. So I think it really on that side, and we've got some veterans over there that Trayvon Sanders, a Jamal Statham, a Sam Levy, that some guys like Cam Melton, Jalen Harris, those guys have played a lot of football, so they got to set the standard. I'm not worried about on Saturday so much, but they got to set the standard and really show them how to prepare and what a game week looks like.
Coach, in previous years, moral victories were the things that Trojan fans talked about. Just go out there and just hang it with the opponent.
Yeah.
How far is that now removed in this program?
Yeah, I don't know. Justin, this program's won a lot of games now. I don't know. I mean, they won 3 national championships. They've been at the top at every level. Went to a bowl game the first year they were eligible. You'd have to ask these fans. I don't know if they were ever real fired up about moral victories. So, but no, that's not something we talk about. We're going out there for one purpose. That's to win the game. Whether we're good enough to go win the game, I think we'll find out Saturday afternoon. But that's the goal of going out there, playing it close and all that kind of stuff. I think we're by that. Hopefully we're by that, and I know that our fan base has moved on from that.
You talked about having so much youth on the defensive side.
Mm-hmm.
Does that put any extra pressure on Brandon and Jordan to kind of pick it up offensively?
No, I mean, they can't go out there making plays on defense. Brandon can't anyway. Jordan's probably athletic enough, but Brandon's not. No, I don't think so. We're gonna play quality defense. Hopefully it starts on Saturday, but we're going to play quality defense as we go through the year. And I don't think so. I don't think that they look at it as – if you ask them, I'm not sure they could tell you that we're playing that many true freshmen on defense. I've never stood up in front of the team and said, hey, we're going to play 6 true freshmen and 2 other guys that have never played before. So I don't think they realize it. All they know is a week ago in a scrimmage, the defense got after the offense really, really well. And that was with a bunch of freshmen playing. So I don't think they look at it as added pressure. I think there's a lot of intrinsic motivation for those guys. If you look at Brandon and Jordan, this is their final go around here at Troy. It's also their last opportunity to show NFL scouts what they're capable of doing. So I think that they have intrinsic. They look at it. They're going to put a lot of pressure on themselves to perform. But it's been that way. We basically won or lost last year with how those 2 guys played. Yeah, it's one of those things, that we play on blue turf and we play on a teal turf later on in the year. So we're not even going to talk about it. They know it's blue. I don't really know. I've thought about it. I guess we could paint ours, but we're going to have to go out there and just line up and play.
Well, you are familiar with bluegrass.
I do know. That is good. Very good point, Stacy. I do know a thing or two about bluegrass, and we don't have that here either. So it's gonna be hard for us to practice on that as well. It's a very good point, though.
You sat and rested a lot of guys from the scrimmages, guys you know about. Have they knocked off enough for us to get ready for this week, or is that what this week's about?
Yeah, that's always that's a good question, Jeremy, because my whole thought process is let's get them enough work to be ready in the game. Especially with Jordan. And I really believe that running backs only have so many carries in them, so much tread on the tires. So we've been extremely careful with our running backs. We've been extremely careful with some of our defensive players that have proven themselves in game action. I believe that our fall camp has been strenuous enough. I think that our older guys are at a point where they can practice in a thud type of atmosphere and get as much work done without going to the ground all the time. But that is one worry as a coach, and I would say that I'm probably not alone in that regard. Everybody fights the battle. Did you do enough, or did you do too much? And we probably erred this fall camp on with our veteran guys doing a little less in the past, just because we've got several guys on defense and several guys on offense that are going into year 3 playing in the same system.
Coach, you stood in the middle of Lab People Stadium, hoisting the trophy, saying Troy is back.
Mm-hmm.
Having a 10-win season last year, what would another 10-win season, possible bowl game win, do for your career as a coach and this program as a whole?
Well, I think the program-wise, it's just about being consistent, and we have a proud tradition here. I mean, Troy has won a lot of football games, regardless of who the coach was, whether it was Coach Blakeney, whether it was any of the guys that came before him. Troy's always had a winning football program, and I think for us is we're trying to build a program here. We don't want to be a one-hit wonder. We don't want to be a 1-year 10-win season and fall back to the pack. We want to build a program. That's what we're working hard towards every day, and we've got to have a model of consistency to do that. And that's the thing that's so impressive about Boise is what they've done. Over an 18-year period, they've averaged 11 wins. That's amazing. Over an 18-year period, they've averaged 11 wins. They've won 3 Fiesta Bowls, I believe. I think they finished in the top 10 3 times over that same stretch. I mean, they've done some really good things. And when you think, and in my mind, when I think of Boise, I think in consistency. And I would like for 3, 4, 5, whatever years down the road, for when we line up and go play somebody, I'd love for their opposing coach to say, hey, Troy consistently wins. They consistently, you know what you're going to get when you line up. The kids are going to play hard. They're going to put their players in a position to be successful, and they've consistently done it for a long time.
Coach, one group you're always talking about is the special teams unit. No Ryan Cade this year, Bratcher Underwood stepping into his spot. How much confidence do you have in them moving into that?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, and I'm really kind of surprised it took this long into it, because if you look at it, that's our number one point of being really improving. We're going to roll out two new long snappers. Our short snapper for field goals will be Cameron Kay. Our long snapper is Preston Langham, who he filled in and snapped all but one of the punt snaps last year in the bowl game. And unfortunately, we punted a lot in the second half of that game, so he's got some experience. But those guys I got a lot of faith in those guys. They've performed well. They were ready to play last year. We just had 2 seniors. Bratcher handled the kickoff duties for us last year. He'll continue to do that. He and Evan Lagasse were in the midst of a really strenuous kicking battle for our place kicker job, and Bratcher has won that. I like Bratcher is a competitor. He stepped up and has performed well anytime we've put him in pressure situations. So I look forward to him having that opportunity. And then Tyler Sumter is a guy that we recruited to be our punter of the future. And his Spain Park team went all the way to the state championship, and he had probably as good a high school punting season as I've ever seen. And he's ready to go. I've got a lot of confidence in his ability to go out and get the job done too. But it'll be interesting. I wish for them we were starting here at home and playing Austin Peay again. But that's not what's in the cards. So.
Hey, Coach, just switching over and talking about your quarterback and Brandon Silvers. He's basically been named to every preseason list. How has he progressed, especially through the summer, right up to this point, Monday game week 1?
Yeah. Well, I think Adam should get Adam and his crew should get a lot of credit for all those watch lists, and they've done a great job with several of our guys really promoting them. And our guys have done some good work on the field, but Adam and his crew also have done a great job promoting our players and getting them on those lists. And I think he's on those lists, deservedly so. I think if you look at the senior quarterbacks that are out there in the country, I like Brandon Silvers as good as anybody. And he's accurate. His body's in better shape, and I think he's matured more off the field. Continues to grow and mature off the field. He's grown as a leader. That's something that I probably would. Just this fall camp. That's probably the first time I'm really comfortable with saying, Brandon and leader in the same sentence. He's a guy that's respected on our football team, and he's proven himself. And he had a great season last year. His first team all conference. I think he can continue to grow and be more consistent in every day. I think he's got a great opportunity too. I mean, these are 2 high-level quarterbacks that are going to play on Saturday, and he's got an opportunity to make a statement on a national scene.